Let me ask you something. What's the most important investment you'll ever make? No, it's not stocks, not real estate, not even a business. The greatest investment you can ever make is in you, because when you can speak, and people feel you, when your words don't just inform but transform, you don't just make a living, you create a movement. Let me tell you why your voice is your power, and your story your greatest gift. I have been power of communication and the impact. Our children are watching us and they're listening, and they need to see positive examples. And if you believe that you have a voice, that you have a story, that I read something that really grabbed me. It said, write a book worth reading or live a life worth writing about. Let me repeat that again. Write a book worth reading. Her book is now #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, or live a life. I train speakers and I teach them that the best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. The best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. Something that I've considered a masterpiece that you just could not take exception to. And you just had to sit with some of those quotes in there and just take it in for a minute. You just couldn't digest this because it was potent. You need a little chaser with it. It was potent. If you believe that, that's important. Because believe me, we have so many young people who have it like that, and we don't get a chance to see them. She is not the exception, okay, there are many, but unfortunately the media don't focus on them. And that's why I'm so grateful. I want to share something with you that I want you to write down. The best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. She clearly did that. The best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. To be or not to be, that is the question. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That, when you are able to communicate and be selective of the words that you use, that will be deep and penetrating. And people have to marinate with it and meditate on it for a minute. That speaks for itself. Here's something else. She didn't just speak the words. I want you to keep this in mind about our great communicators, people that I'm training. My classes have been filling up and running over. People now see what I've been talking about, the power of communication, that she experienced them. You know that these were not just words that she was sprouting out. This was who she is, and we felt that in every word that she delivered, and that's very important. It was not just reciting something that she wrote, but identifying with and being at one and congruent with the words that she spoke. And that's why we felt it. That's why we felt it not just in terms of hearing it, but we heard it in our ears and in our hearts. So it's just one thing to recite words, but there's something else to experience the word. The other thing is that where there was limited television viewing, that's major. There are algorithms on computers and television that's literally programming all of us, and particularly our young people, and warping and corrupting their thinking and their vision of themselves. So I want to ask you, what is it you want to do with your life? We know the air feels better. Don't you feel lighter? You know, I didn't get up this morning and ask, what happened today? I think I'm going through withdrawals. PTSD, laughter no, but let me share this with you. Maximize this moment. Yes, just think about this. This is I see this as a God moment to look at yourself, at your goals, at your dream. Look at our children, look into the future, look behind and thank God, look around and praise God, look ahead and follow God, go within and seek God. And at this point in time, this is a time to take charge of your mind. Number 1, putting positive things in your mind on a daily basis. I want you to go to HP.com. We've got some motivational messages there for you to watch and to listen to on a regular basis. And for those of you that would like to be coached and trained by me to teach you how to use your voice, and now more than ever, why? Well, number one, there's no such thing as job security, and your ability to communicate, it's your superpower. It's your superpower, your ability to communicate. There's no way that I would have been able to be successful in television and radio and becoming a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio, or doing what I'm doing now, speaking nationally and globally around the world virtually. I don't travel anymore, don't want to do that, homie don't want to do that, and neither does Tyrone, but that's another conversation. But this is a time, in the attention economy, listen to me, in the attention economy, in order to call attention to yourself and hold the attention and to motivate and inspire and direct the attention, your ability to communicate is your superpower. Warren Buffett said not being able to communicate is like being in a dark room with a woman and winking. He says, nothing happens, and so this is the time. In order to advance your career in corporations, they're saying that your ability to communicate, your communication power, your presentation power, is more important than your technical skills, because you've got to work with people. You've got to be able to communicate ideas and concepts, and get things done and create an environment of people being together, even though they are far apart. And the people who can communicate in this world, in this new world order, in this environment, are the people that are going to win, are the people that are going to dominate their market, are the people that are going to be the effective leaders. Communication, it's your superpower. Invest in yourself. Put in the time and the effort to learn. When Warren Buffett graduated from Harvard University, the first thing he did was he took a communications course. And so when I think about my life, there's no way that I could have accomplished what I've accomplished and touched millions of lives had I not been willing to invest in myself to develop my communication skills. When I had Mr. Leroy Washington at Booker T. Washington High School in Overtown in Miami, who said, "Young man, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are." And I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you. If you're ready to take your life to the next level, if you want to have a competitive advantage in pursuing your goals and your dreams, allow me to coach you in how to do that. We had a class the other day, and I mean to tell you, people were just saying, "Oh my God, I had no idea." See, in order to be successful, one of the things that's important is being around the right people. Being in a community of people that have experience, that have a track record that's known, because that association brings credibility and respect. This is a time that you want seasoned, experienced, trained eyes looking at you and helping you to connect with your power voice, helping you to begin to develop the greatness that you have within you, helping you to begin to manifest the potential and to bring out the greatness that you have lying dormant in you right now, to develop new relationships, to build national and global networks of people who believe in you, who trust you. Today in business, people look at you. They're asking 3 questions. Who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? And your ability to communicate that is major. That determines whether or not you're able to negotiate well, or make a point, or influence people, or make a sale, or build an organization. Communication power. If you believe that that's important, and if you'd like to improve your communication skills, there are a lot of people. They don't know what they don't know, and they think they know. There's certain nuances, there are certain strategies in communication that when you learn them and through practice and through coaching, it changes your revenue, it impacts your bottom line, it will empower your advancing in your career. things that I've been able to do. My kids that are standing behind me, they know the value of effective communication skills. You know what's one of the most difficult things to do? Work with your children and get them to see what you see. But they know, and they're very successful in what they do. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals and look at your dreams, this is a time, this is a brand new day. We really should be going all in, going all out. Not sitting back waiting to look for things to change. No, be a part of the change, become the architects of our own future, not having any fear of anyone but moving forth, being of good courage, and designing the life that you want rather than the life that you have been handed. Whatever your goal, whatever your dreams are, I'll show you how you can use your voice to advance yourself, how you can use your voice to overcome the obstacles, how you can use your voice to get past any barriers that are in front of you, how you can use your voice to create a life that you can be proud of, that your future self will say, "Thank you so much for making that decision. I am so excited. I'm looking forward to working with you." It is confirmation of the power of communication. Her book went to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and people around the world are still talking about who spoke, and people listened and felt it and responded and were in awe. People said, "You know what? I want to do it like that, and we can help you do that." If you're ready to take your communication skills, your speaking skills, your presentation skills to the next level, to increase your knowledge, to increase your approach in your market, to dominate your market pocket, if you're ready, your voice plays a major delivery system that you have. This would be helpful to this good question. Mr. Washington said, "What do you want to do with your life, young man?" I said, "Myco. Sorry, close your microphone, hold it up a little." He said, "What do you want to do with your life, young man?" I said, "I'd like to become a disc jockey." He said, "Here are my car keys." I said, "What is it?" He said, "I want you to go in my car at noon. Don't go to the cafeteria. Bring a sandwich to school. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. I want you to listen to a guy named Paul Harvey. He's the greatest communicator in the world. He does a program at 12:00 noon called The Rest of the Story. So lunchtime I would be in his car, in the air conditioning, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and listening to Paul Harvey, who said, 'Good day.' I studied Paul Harvey. I watched Billy Graham. I turned the volume down. I watched his eyes. He was very intense with his eyes. I studied Zig Ziglar. I learned the value of energy. Zig had energy. Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. I read other philosophers, Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end there it is. When I train speakers, I say to them, you must be a perpetual learner. As soon as your audience knows as much as you know, they no longer need you. That's what Robert Schuller said, we must expand or we are expendable. And we're in this place that Peter Drucker said, we must be willing to unlearn, learn, and relearn. Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. Mike Williams said, Brownie, you must study and you must be. I don't want to train you to speak in a niche. I want to train you to speak to the world. Because when I told him I wanted him to be my coach, because I saw him speak and he was so captivating, had humor and quotes, and was well read, I said, man, can you teach me to do what you do? He said, yes. So I said, great. Then he asked me a question, James, who do you want to speak to? I said, the NAACP, the Urban League. All of a sudden, the phone went dead. I said, man, we lost the line. He said, "No, we did not." I said, "What happened?" He said, "I don't want to work with anybody who has such a small vision," and hung up. Again, I called him back. I said, "Man, please don't hang up on me." He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to speak to the world." He said, "Okay, then we got some synergy. This is a good fit, because you can. I don't want you to see yourself as Les Brown, LB triple P Les Brown, your platter, playing P, O, A. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only, young and single, and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. You're not just a disc jockey. I want you to empower and change people's lives. You got that in you." I said, "Thank you, Mike." Sometimes you want to write this out. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Does that make sense? I really think that is part of the key, being around people that believe in you, oftentimes more than you believe in yourself. You talk a lot about that in your book. I would not be. I don't think I'd be where I'm at with addiction recovery had I not met many individuals that somehow, when I'm talking my way out of any level of living a functional life, even surviving, is having people say, "You can do it. You can do it." And I think the difference, though, is when it's puffery versus when it really penetrates. Like real nutrition versus, absolutely, where's Michael Burnoff? Michael's somewhere in the building. I think he's downstairs. But I want to say thank you. When I was dealing with the drugs, and I knew what your passion was, you got to have somebody that you can talk to, and you can be transparent with, and share things about yourself and know that they won't judge you. And so I knew when I called you and told you that I was addicted to drugs, you wouldn't say, you, Les Brown, you're the motivator. How in the hell you get hooked on drugs, you didn't judge me. I say to speakers, who you are behind the words are far more important than the words that you speak. Because of your compassion, when I train and work with speakers, I work first with the messenger, and then the message, and then the delivery. Because if it comes through the words that you speak, it comes through when you're speaking. That people can feel you, or they can just hear you, and they hear you in their heart. But if you want to change an audience or change a person, you have to acknowledge that people are asking 3 questions when they see you. Who are you? What do you have? And can I trust you? Can I trust you with my heart? Can I trust you with my secrets? There's a book I read years ago called Why I'm Afraid to Tell You Who I Am. Because you might not like me, and that's all I've got. So this is Les Brown, the motivator, who talks about, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And I had to call my friend and say, "Hey man, I'm dealing with something up in here, and I know you know." And you were so confident to me. You gave me strength. You said, "You can do this, man." And that, I knew I had my work cut out for me. That meant so much to me, and I'm so honored to be here to serve you and your group. I'm available to you. I want us to finish life together, but you're too young. When I was first diagnosed with prostate cancer, they said I was terminal. My mother had passed, and she came to me in a dream. She had a great sense of humor. She said, "Baby, I heard you have prostate cancer. You said you missed me. I'm looking forward to seeing you." I woke up and said, No, I ain't ready to see you yet. I have to say something about. It's really interesting what you just said. What a great framework. The messenger, the message, then the delivery, the ability to convey and trance, her belief, transfer ability. I have a friend who's 60 years old, who 2 weeks and 6 days ago was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I let him know you were coming down here. He's like, I love Les Brown. He said, is there any way you could connect me to him? And I said, I'd like to talk to him. Yeah, you did. Well, the reason I bring this up, did he tell you about our conversation? Oh, he loved it. I mean, he left me a message last night, a group of his closest friends, and this is a very successful dude. He is in such a good state of mind right now. He's also aware of the fact that this is not the cancer you want to get. He told me he met in the last week with, supposedly, the best pancreatic cancer doctor in the world. It's across the board. Some say no matter what you do, you've got 2-5 years. Others say there's no limit. He's talked to so many people, and he's tired, and he's exhausted. His wife, who's more into mainstream medicine, he's very. But the fact is, that conversation with you literally changed the trajectory of this guy's behavior and thought process. The reason I bring this up is that when you can transfer belief, hope, to other people, because I think hope is an interesting thing. Hope used in false, superficial ways is like bullshitting people. There are damaging ways to use hope, and hope used in certain ways heals people. So the point is, you talked to this individual, and it wasn't just a conversation. You have developed this ability, which I know is part of what you do with other people. That's your business, right? But I asked him a key question. I said, why do you want to be here? He said, for his wife, for his children. When you think about Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he said the Jews that survived the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism. I went to Poland. I wanted to go to the place where Anne Frank was. I went to Auschwitz. I work with a guy named Sam Axelrod, who was one of my early mentors. He said they either had some spiritual commitment they had with their lives, or some loved one they were determined to see, or some reason that was bigger than them. So once I found out that his reason was his family, I started talking about it from that point. I said, let me tell you something, why we're going to do this. And notice I said, why we're going to do this. I spoke from the end, that we've got this done. You gotta stick a fork in it. Like when you see a basketball game, guy shoots a basket like Steph Curry and starts running down court before the ball even hits the net. So that when we speak to people we want to affirm that whenever I speak I say again and again, you have something special. You've got greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. What we're doing is breaking through all of the negative conversations that's in the collective consciousness of people. Your passion, your energy, and the words that you use will dismantle and open up their mind where they begin to see. I want everybody to repeat after me, please. It's possible. It's possible. I want you to write this down. Show you a model that you can use in any type of situation. So if you get brought in to speak at a corporation, first you want to do a needs assessment. Find out their mission statement and find out what is it they're looking for. And then what I do at the top of your speech is paint the picture of what they say their goals are in their mission statement and say, it's possible. As you begin to look at the Genius Network, the goal and objective of changing the planet, of operating out of the thinking that as we face inevitable death one day, we're going to leave here. What is the meaning and purpose of our lives that will not be undone or destroyed when we are gone? The people that come here at the Genius Network, I want to say to you, Mr. Polish, that those people will be transformed, and the people's lives that they touch, they will be transformed, and this will have a rippling effect into the future that you don't get to see. Let us say together, it's necessary that as you decided to do this, get involved in doing the greater work. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You decided, I got to do this. You said to yourself, I want to live a life that will outlive me. I've had a defining moment in my life that I lost myself in drug addiction, and then there was a defining moment that I said, this is not me. And I died to who Joe was then, to give birth to this Joe that you now see. And I decided it was a non-negotiable with my life. I want to live a life that will make an impact. The things that I've gone through will not define me. They will refine me so I can live a life of contribution. Let us say together, it's you, it's you, it's me, it's me. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. And so you decided that I'm going to take a stand with my life. Therefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. You decided when something happens, there's a victim, there's a perpetrator, and there are the witnesses, and you decided, I'm not going to be a witness. You decided that if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem, and that gave birth to the Genius Network. You see what I did with it, how you edified the person who started it, who wrote the check. And you make him look good. He will not only write you another check and bring you back. 95% of my speaking engagements are repeat, and they give me referrals. You want to fry the fish while the grease is hot. Is there anybody else you know that can use my services? All right, I'm back. I'm starting the Les Brown Leadership Entrepreneurial Institute, teaching our young people how to go into business for themselves, teaching them how to become entrepreneurs, giving them a larger vision of themselves, letting them know that you don't live life as it is. You live life as you are. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Transforming their mindset, teaching them the skill set that's required in this new economy of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. Letting them know that this is a time where you have to learn, you have to unlearn and relearn. Unlearn the way that you've been operating and thinking and behaving, and you must relearn because things are constantly changing, and so my vision has been, and I did it in Washington, D.C., and in Chicago, bringing kids and their parents and relatives together. I'm going to do it. I'm getting ready for 2023, and I want, if you believe as I believe, what you're about to see is something that has value. I want to see some fire TOA. Would you please play the video? Let us say together, there's greatness in me. I can, he can. I was chosen. I was chosen by God for a great work. I was chosen. 1 out of 400 billion sperm. I'm destined for greatness because of my choices, because of my values, because of my destiny, because of my family, because of my church, and because it is my right to use my talents and my gifts to the best of my ability. You are the future world changers. You're the individuals that will begin to write the course of history, change the world. First, start by changing yourself. You want to start holding a vision of how you see yourself in the future. I had a vision of myself being a multimillionaire. I had a vision of myself being my own boss. Have a commitment to win. Most people, poor people, don't have a commitment to win. You ask them a question, ask them to do something. Most poor people will say, I'll try. You never want to use the language of I'll try. That's the language of losers. You want to say, if there's something you want to do, I'll get it done. Consider it done. You want to make a commitment. Most people never achieve their goals because, coming out of poor culture, they have the habits and the behaviors of making poor choices. So they suffer from possibility blindness. You want to be open to the possibilities. Master what you love. I love to speak. I love talking to people. I love to make people laugh. I love to make people feel good. And so, therefore, I developed a career that allowed me to do that which I love to do. Tiger Woods, he loves to play golf. Because he loves to do that, he has mastered that, and that has earned him millions of dollars. Booker T. Washington said, as you begin to look at yourself and look into the future, your gifts and your abilities and your talents are very important. He said, judge a man not by what he has accomplished, but by what he had to overcome in order to reach his goal. My group, Prospects of the Future, plan on learning at this seminar how to dare to be different, how to use school and our surroundings as a tool to be successful in life, and how to just be an all-around great person. Develop your mind and develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you'll tell the world who you are. Student voices follow, summarizing their group goals, values, and takeaways. In life, you may not have everything you need all the time, but guess what? Inside of you, you do have everything you need. The appearance might be that you don't have what you need. You may not have the connections. You may not have the resources. You may not have the information. You may not have the edification, but that doesn't mean that you cannot get it. It doesn't mean that you cannot attain it, and it does not mean that you have to be stoppable. Let me hear you say, I am not. I am unstoppable. This just concludes our first evening of our training. You're talking about some incredible young people. Our future is bright because they are here. Our future is just incredible because these young people have goals and dreams, and they have a sense of destiny. And so, we're just excited about the possibilities. Let me tell you something. Look out, world. You've got some great young people here that are going to come and take it to the next level and create a brighter future. From my lips to God's ears, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. You know, as I was watching that, they used a law that they used to investigate the mafia to investigate me, and they said I had sloppy bookkeeping because the city gave me $100,000 to train youth, and I spent $125,000. I spent $25,000 of my own money, and they asked, where did you get it from? None of your business. It's my money, and I chose not to turn any kids away. I used my own money. I put my money where my mouth was. But they used the mafia law. Now, is there anything harmful that you saw in that video that would require that they use a mafia law? And the mafia law is, I think it's called the M. I'm not sure what it is, but someone knows out there. But what it says is, they asked, what has he done wrong? And she said, oh, nothing. But we're just investigating him to see if he's done anything wrong. Wow, what was wrong in their view? When you're empowering our youth, as long as they're using filthy language, shaking their behinds, and acting ignorant, there's somebody out there right now, praying for a voice like yours. They're waiting, not for perfection, but for authenticity. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to show up, stand tall, and say, I'm not a finished product, but I'm a work in progress with a powerful message. Don't die with your story still in you. Speak it, live it, and change lives, starting with your own.